All right, now you're born then into this, you get born, you go through the fetal stage and you get born, and you're a neonate, a 7-pound neonate. Now, a 7-pound neonate, if you knew at that point, if you were fully conscious, you would know that you were still fully conscious and you were just in a 7-pound neonate. However, the 7-pound neonate gets hungry and it cries. There's hunger and crying and so on, and everybody around you treats you as if you're that neonate. It's just as if you came off the assembly line at Detroit and you drove the car off the line, and then everybody treated you as if you were the car. Therefore, because you were a Chevrolet, you had to drive down roads a certain way, and you had to park in garages a certain way, and you developed a whole concept of the universe based on you being a Chevrolet. While in fact, it was merely the illusion. You got caught in the desires, in the entrapment of the that part of nature which you were in.
You've got your feet on the mic.
It now then may take you all your lifetime or many lifetimes to wake up to the realization that this particular bizarre circumstance had happened. That you got caught in this thing, in this wrong model of who you were. And it's called the veil, or the dust in the eyes, or the veil of ignorance, or your sanskaras, or whatever. There are thousands of words that describe the thing that made us think for a mistake that I was that body, so that when I lost the body in that first drug session, I got frightened. I mean, if I get out of my Chevrolet, I'm not going to get frightened. Even if the Chevrolet goes over a cliff, if I'm not in it, even if I think I'm my body, because I don't think I'm the Chevrolet. But I didn't realize I was in a rent-a-body. You know, not only a rent-a-body, but a rent-a-mind. A rent-a-mind, everybody. That my rational thought process was in nature as well. That was part and parcel of the whole trip I bought when I got born into this thing. But it's certainly been seductive, and I certainly thought I was thinking, and that my thoughts were me. I'm a thinking being. Right? Now, it is for these reasons that I say that the problem is getting free of nature. So that when you, like I'm up in New Hampshire in a little cabin, see, up in the woods, up in Franklin, in my father's farm. And all around are beautiful trees, and they got red leaves and golden leaves and yellow leaves. And always in the past, I came up to New Hampshire in the autumn to dig the leaves. So I'm sitting in my cabin, and the shutters are all down, and I'm sitting there, and somebody comes in and says, "How can you be in here when all the leaves are so beautiful?" And I say, because I'm not yet free enough to be able to be with the leaves without getting caught in the beauty. Getting caught in the beauty. Now, this business of being caught is the critical matter that is the first step that people undertake in the road to becoming liberated. It is the technique which Gurdjieff has so exquisitely enunciated in his model of self-remembering. And Gurdjieff says it in one way, and Rodney Collin, the disciple of Ouspensky, says it in a slightly different way. Gurdjieff says, your problem is that you identify. You learn to identify as a child with your body, then you identify with your mother's concept of who you are, so you develop social roles, and you identify with the concepts of the universe all around you, so you become a thinking, rational being in a rational system. And then pretty soon when you're angry, you say, I'm angry, and you identify with the anger, and you are anger. and you identify with being in love, and you identify with desires, and you identify with your lusts, and you identify with everything. Just go from one thing. You identify with other people's opinions of you, what Dave Reisman calls the other-directed man. Rodney Collin calls it fascination. He says we're like bees. We just are so fascinated by everything. We're just like going from flower to flower. Like, if you're listening to me and just hearing my words and aren't conscious at this moment that you're listening to me and hearing my words, you're fascinated, you're trapped. That's where you're at. That's what it comes down to. Because all the time I'm talking to you, I'm going, that mantra is going on and on inside of me. And from that place, which is completely outside of this game of lecture and our visiting together, I'm watching this whole drama unfold, just like I were one of the actors on the stage. No fascination at all. I'm in the same place as if I'm saying Om Mani Padme Hum in my cabin in New Hampshire or in the ashram in India. Same place. There's no place to go. There's no place you ever go. You're always in the same place. When you begin to realize there's nowhere to go, it's, you know, it's quite shaky. Shaking at first. Driving and driving and there's nowhere to go. You're not getting anywhere. Because you're there. You're here. Now, the fascination or identification, if you understand that concept, that is the attachment to your senses, and that is the game, is to get free of that. And the process of self-remembering is the process of developing the witness, or in Ramana Maharshi's terms, the I thought. That is that place from which you observe all of your desires, all of your attachments, all of your feelings. Just like Bhagwan Das said to me, the feeling is a wave that's disappearing off into the distance. Well, in the same way, when first what happens is, as those of you that have studied the Gurdjieff system know, you say, all right, I'm going to self-remember. There I am self-remembering. And then something comes along and you start to get angry, and you so forget your self-remembering because you're so busy, why, that son of a, I'm going to... And about 2 days later you wake up and say, holy mackerel, wasn't I self-remembering at that point? And you completely forgot you're even trying to do it. See? So you say, okay, well, I'll start again. So you start again, and this time maybe you only fall asleep for a day and a half. And if you keep at it, if you really work at it as hard as you work to learn how to drive a car, for example, pretty soon you get down so that you get to the point where you keep falling asleep just as often, but you wake up very quickly. And then you get to the point where, like, what happens to me now is I start to get angry, and the starting to get angry is the cue, the stimulus, that pushes me back into the self-remembering. And I say, there I go starting to get angry. The minute I say, there I go starting to get angry, I have now identified myself with the witness. And I am no longer the angry. I am now the person who is observing the angry. And by doing that, I have just extricated myself from going through the attachment to that emotion through that whole cycle. Do you see how that works? That method of developing the witness is a tremendously powerful first step of a two-step operation on this journey, because you begin, what you do is you just observe that which is in nature doing its thing. You observe the laws of nature as you are they. As you are they, yeah. Just like you watch a tree drop its seeds and germinate and grow, and watch big oaks out of acorns grow and all that, you watch the laws of your own personality, you watch the laws of your own desires, you just watch them. The witness doesn't do anything. This is very, very critical. See, a kid will come up to me and he'll say, well, I'll tell you, I use the witness. He said, I'm Catholic and I have, sometimes I masturbate, and then I say, oh, damn it, you did it again. Now that's the witness. I said, no, man. The witness says, there I am masturbating, and then the witness says, there I am damning myself for masturbating. All the witness is a witness. The witness is the non-game place. The witness is not active. The witness doesn't do anything. A witness isn't witnessing. The witness is just the I. E-Y-E or I, the spiritual I. It's merely there. It's always there. It's always there. And it does nothing. It's got no vested interest, no morality, no laws, no game going. It doesn't care what you do. All it does is see it all. Right? Now, how do you develop the witness? Right? Now, how do you develop the witness? Well, there are devices that are designed to help you develop the witness. Heuristic devices. Rodney Collins says the problem is that you get so fascinated with things like anger or the candle flame or whatever it is that you become the thing itself. And therefore there are thousands of me's, but there's always like you and the thing. That's the relationship. He says what to do is to introduce a third thing into the system. It's just like, let's say you're doing something that you've always done. Say you do asanas, and you're doing your asanas, and you've always done them alone in your room, and then suddenly somebody's standing there just watching you do them. Well, now, what happens, whether you like to think of it at all, is that which is your ego gets called into play, and you are observing how he's seeing your asanas. Okay? Now imagine that that third person, so that there's you and like the book you're reading, and then there's somebody else there, is somebody who's like my guru. He's a perfect mirror. He's got no game going at all. No game going at all. He doesn't care whether I read the book or don't read the book. He's just saying, reading the book. Reading the book. Right? That kind of a consciousness. So Rodney Collins says it doesn't matter who you put in there as the third person. You can call it the witness. You can call it Buddha consciousness, and you can read about Buddha and think about Buddha and keep Buddha with you all the time, so that every time you're anywhere, Buddha's there too. That's the third person. You can read about Christ and keep Christ there. You can read about the Guru, keep the Guru there. You can think about the sun. Aditya hridayam punyam sav shatru vinashanam. All evil vanishes from life for he who keeps the sun in his heart. There's the third thing, the sun in your heart. How can I go and do you in when the sun is in my heart? See, as long as I can keep conscious of that third thing, I'm protected from getting trapped in my own fascinations or in my own identification. Do you see how that works? Now, that's what a device like this is about. You see, that's what the device like a mala and doing japam is about. I mean, people look at it and they think of a priest doing the rosary, and they think of sort of like a mechanical religiosity of some sort. But oh, it's much more sophisticated than that. It works, that works, but it's much more sophisticated than that. Because what this is constantly doing is taking you to that place where that third person is. So everything else is in relation to that other vantage point. Let us take the traditional one that all the Tibetans use. Om Mani Padme Hum. I'm giving you the Tibetan enunciation. Om Mani Padme Hum. Hum. Way it works, Om, the sound of the universe. You know, all the sounds of the universe. Om starts in the back of your mouth and comes up to your tongue. Om, Om, Om. Mani is like a jewel, or like pure, or the Atman, or pure consciousness. That's that thing. Om is the jewel. Padme is the lotus. Om, Mani, Padme. Om is the jewel in the center of the lotus. Or you can think of the lotus as the unfolding senses, or inside your senses. Om Mani Padme Hum becomes manifest in your heart. That is, that part of Om which is manifest in you is in your heart. Hung, the heart cave, hung. And when you say hung right, with your nose closed, it reverberates in your chest until pretty soon it reminds you, it keeps that heart cave going all the time. So literally, I live in a cave. I can be driving in my car, or I can be sitting in the Hilton, or I can be anywhere, but I'm always in the same place. I'm in this very groovy cave, you see. And in this cave are the grooviest people, see? Because they're all the same person. They have different forms. There's Buddha over there in the corner, and there's Hanuman the monkey, and there's Ramakrishna over there, you know, going into ecstasy. And all these groovy people hanging around. They're my spiritual community. They're the people I hang out with. They're the people that live in my cave. Right? And I'm constantly dipping into my cave. Om mani padme hum, Om mani padme hum, Om mani padme hum, Om mani padme. So I'm talking along with you, and every time I move one of these beads, which since I'm doing a Tibetan mantra, I do with my left hand. This is a little, one of those intellectual cuties. While with your right hand you do Hindu mantras, and you don't use your first finger because that's the pointing finger, so you use your third finger moving with your thumb. So you're doing Om Mani Padme, and this is a Buddhist mala. It's made of the Bodhi tree, and this is a Hindu mala. It's made of the Tulsi wood. These are the two different very holy woods in India. This mala was given to me by my teacher. It was given to him by the Guru 15 years ago. When he got it, these little beads were all square, flat. And 100,000 times a day for 15 years, Ram, 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 Ram. He's a high Brahmin. He's very pure. He counts. That's what keeps you locked in the golden chain when you count, you know, the steps to paradise. I'm 10 million Rams up the steps. It's the point system. And now these are all round and smooth just by the human touch. And, you know, like this is invested with so much spiritual energy that when he gives it to me, it's like giving me the, you know, you understand? All right, so every time I move one of these beads, now let's say I start to talk to you, and I'm talking about something that I don't quite understand, so I'm really listening to myself talk, and I kind of get caught in it. I mean, I get fascinated by it for a moment. And I'm just doing this mechanically, and then suddenly my thumb, I'm aware that I'm doing something, and immediately Om Mani Padme Hum goes through another time. I go back into that, and then that changes my frame of reference, and I get uncaught. In other words, this device is constantly taking me back to that place. At the same time, it's a form of worship, you see, because I am worshiping. This is bhakti yoga also, you see. This is a form of devotion, because you're devoted to that third person, that third place, because that place is God, is consciousness, is light, is everything you want to conceive of as purity, as that pure higher consciousness. Once you've made your mind one-pointed, all right, now here's the way you work. You get your mind calmer and calmer, as the Mahamudra vow says. At first, Tilopa's thing on Mahamudra, at first the mind is like a waterfall. Your mind's going in all directions. It's like a wild, drunken monkey, Vivekananda says. It's like a monkey that is moving to begin with, that you've fed wine to, so it's drunk in addition, and it's just been bitten by a scorpion. That was Vivekananda's way of creating what the mind is like. You know, it's just jumping from thing to thing. I got an itch, I hear your word, I'm thinking about this, gee, I wonder, gee, it's dark, you know, like the seat's hard, I gotta go to the bathroom, you know, like 10,000 things, and they just like, oh, flip, 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 flip. It's called free association. Okay, there it all is. That's the drunken monkey. So pretty soon what you do, those are called the vrittis and the chitta. I won't get you into the terminology tonight because that's too much. It sounds like double talk. But what you do slowly is you calm down these waves until pretty soon it's just like a very fast-moving river. And the way you do that is by getting into the witness and watching it all happen. That's one way of doing it. And pretty soon, as you're watching it all happen, it starts to happen less and less, because you're not lost in it as much. And you sort of cease to let your mind, you've just watched it, and it sort of becomes embarrassed. It's very funny. It's like your ego gets embarrassed under the scrutiny of this thing.